Ellie, look. Are you gonna miss me? I gonna miss you.
Bye, house.
Bonjour. I'm officially a Parisian resident. Today marks 1 month that I've lived here. I arrived on September 1st and it's now October 1st. I've decided to keep a vlog of what I'm doing here so people can kind of be up to date as I am. I'm sorry, there's so much noise out there. I don't know what people are doing. Oh well. So I wanted to keep a vlog to make sure that people okay, the window's closed. It's even hotter in here, but that's okay. So I decided to keep a vlog of what I'm doing here. So I'm going to do a kind of recap of September. Now I did go on a couple weekend trips, but I feel like it would be better to do separate videos for those because it would just take so long. Because here, it's like, oh, I might do one thing or two things a day, if that, and then when I'm traveling, it's like wake up and then do stuff till bed. So I'm going to talk a little bit about my first impressions and what I think now that I'm settled. So France is very different from the US. We are a little bit nicer there. Where, you know, in the US you always hear the customer's always right. Here that's not the case. They're there to give you the food and that's it. I don't really know how to explain it, but they just they're not overly friendly. They're not coming back to check on you. They're not gonna, revise your sandwich because you don't like mayonnaise or whatever. So that's a little weird, and they're very blunt. And as an American, we take that very personally, but it's how they treat everybody, and it's seen as just direct. It's not like a rude thing. You shouldn't take it seriously. One thing Americans get offended by also is when they try to speak French and people speak English back to them. It's not because, oh, you're bad at French, so I just, they're trying to help you, apparently. I don't know if that's true. They might just be like, okay, let's get this over with. But anyway, so September. The flight here was pretty simple. I flew out of Toronto into Dublin and then into Paris. And then I met my program director and a few people in my program. And I just settled in. I'm living on Boulevard Saint-Michel, which I love. The location is stellar. It's a 15-minute walk down to the Seine, in the Latin Quarter. Saint-Germain-des-Prés is right there, so it's really lovely. After that, I kind of started planning everything that I kind of want to do right away. I met every day with my program, everyone in it. There are 9 of us, and then the program director makes 10. So we learned about, cafe etiquette, French culture, French politics, that kind of thing. And then I kind of just was thrown into it. So I'm going to put in a building tour and a room tour here. I think I might just do a separate video of room, building, and neighborhood tour. You'll find out when you watch this. To the 7th floor. But out here is our terrace that I tripped. So one of the first things I did was I went to the Luxembourg Gardens. Those are right across the street from me. It's lovely. I love to go down the street, get a crepe, walk across to the gardens and just sit and eat my crepe and people watch or read a book. So that's really lovely. So that first day, I walked through the Luxembourg Gardens to my parents' Airbnb to check that out, and it's just a really lovely walk. There are a lot of bookstores that I noticed because the Latin Quarter is like where students live. The Sorbonne's right there. It's a lot of apartments that you can share with people, so I think that's pretty cool. Then I went on a boat tour with my program, which is amazing. If you're ever in Paris, you have to go on a boat tour. They're cheap, they're everywhere along the Seine, and it just takes you to see everything you could possibly want to see in 75 minutes in Paris. So we did that. I forgot to take videos of it, so I'll insert some pictures here. I have a few videos, but nothing really too interesting. But we saw the Eiffel Tower, the Hôtel des Invalides, Académie de France, and then I forget what it's called, but it's where Marie Antoinette was held in the last few months of her life before she was guillotined. My friends and I, we just went to the Luxembourg Gardens again, just walked around. We have class actually twice a week in this building, so I walk downstairs, have class, and then my friends and I grab a crepe and we hang out, and then we go to our French grammar classes, which are Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, 7 to 9. Anyway, I'm shooting this instead of studying for a test, so that's how I feel about my French classes. I'll do another video about like French classes and schools and all that, and talk more about it. Oh, this is fun. So UVSQ is where I go to my lecture classes. They're taught in English. I'm taking one about the EU and one about the British Empire. And my commute is like an hour and a half. And it's really difficult. I'm not getting into it right now. But I found the school. I found who I'm supposed to find, figured out my classes eventually. And that was that hour and a half home. So the way it worked out is now it's better than it was. I take class only Wednesdays. I have one from 2 to 3:30 and one from 5 to 7. So I'm really only gone like 12:30 to 8:30, which is 8 hours for 2 classes. And that sounds insane, but it's fine. So here's kind of what UVSQ looks like. It's a very modern campus. It's relatively new. It's really weird, the sculptures, the fountains, the way the landscape is like that. But, you know, whatever. It's in a town called Guyancourt, I think. And then that night, I actually had dinner right down the street at a place called Le Luco. I went there because it's my name with an O instead of a Y. And I had such a good dinner. It was salade du chèvre chaud. I'm really bad at French, just so you know. It was toast with warm chèvre, oh my god, warm goat cheese. It was amazing. And then salad, which was all arugula, which is my least favorite green. I despise arugula, but I ate it. But I've kind of slowly figured out that cafes are a little more expensive than I'd like to pay for a whole meal all the time. So I try to only go when I'm with people. And then when I'm not with people, I'll make dinner, or I'll just get a crepe or Pizza Hut. You can get a personal pizza for €5. And Pizza Hut here is so much better than at home. I hate it in the US. I literally crave it here. Another meal I had that was also overpriced was I went to this cafe called Le Prince Racine or something like that. And it was good. But it was like awkward because like when you go to a cafe, you just go and you sit down and they find you. Here I was like awkwardly like in the restaurant, not really greeted, not really sure if I should just sit somewhere. I did not love it, but what did I order? I ordered a glass of rosé, like always, but it's weird because when you order, they just look at you and you're like, oh, I'll have this too, and then they keep staring at you. So I ordered my drink, my appetizer, which I didn't want, I just panicked, and then my meal, which was ravioli, which isn't French, but it was fine. They didn't have too many vegetarian options, but it was yummy. So my friends and I decided that we needed to go out, so we went to the Moulin Rouge area, which is super hippin' and happening at night. And it's kind of cool. We went to this bar next door called O'Sullivan's, and in the front it's just a bar. We did like shots and Jaeger bombs and whatever else we could think of. And then in the back, it's more like a club with a DJ, there's another bar, and lots of dancing. So it's quite fun. We've gone there quite a few times now. We figured out that we need to pregame first because it's much cheaper than buying a million drinks. So I don't go out too often. I'm just, I need to be in the right mood, which is rare. But that's still fun. One morning, I decided to go on a run. Here, they have gyms, but they're not super popular, like 60 euros a month or something like that. So really have people stay, what is that? So yeah, really the only way people stay fit here is by going for runs. So I tried that for the Luxembourg Gardens. I'm not good at running, so I haven't done that since, but I tried. Another thing that I really love are the Sunday markets. So I went to what I thought was Rue Mouffetard. I can't say, by the way, my French R's I can't do. Like I just can't. So it's just like a silent noise in the back of my throat. The Sunday markets, it's a bunch of merchants with like produce, cheese, flowers, and I bought all that. And then the next weekend I went and I couldn't, the GPS was a mess both times. I couldn't really figure out where to go. This time it took me somewhere totally different. Same like general direction. I have no idea like what it actually was. This was not so much outdoors like vendors under tents. It was like their shops and they're all outside selling you stuff. And then there's like a flea market. And I wasn't really in the market to buy anything like that. So it was just so weird. Like I have no idea like what to do now. But the good news is I'm not here on a lot of Sundays because I have trips planned. One thing that I really loved was my program director took us to Le Marais. It's on the right bank and it used to be a swamp. Marais means swamp. And it was just really cool. We walked around the area and talked about the architecture, how to tell if it was built during Louis the 13th, 14th, 15th, which was very interesting. And then I just shopped. It's a super chic place to shop. Like, you cannot go and just buy whatever you want. I did though. I usually wear Chanel, but at home it was like a big bottle, but it was almost empty. And I was like, I don't want to bring that whole thing to just, have a tiny bit of perfume. So I'll just buy it in Paris. It's like the perfume capital of the world or something like that. So I went to Fragonard and I went there when I was here when I was 16. And we did like a museum. It was like a perfume museum kind of thing. And I don't remember buying anything for myself because I didn't really wear perfume back then, but I was like, oh, they'll help me find what I want. It did not go well. I was like, oh, I want eau de parfum, I don't want toilette because it's like concentration of like water. Like I don't want it to be mostly water. So I tried a bunch of things. I just really didn't like any. The only one that I remotely liked was this Pivon or Peony. It's just nothing really special, but it was what I purchased. It was under 30 euros, so it's not like it's a huge deal. But I really just wasn't loving that, so I went to Marionade, I don't know, and on the Champs-Élysées a few weeks later, and I tried probably like 50 perfumes, so many, and I could not find anything. So I was like, okay, I'll just buy my Chanel. But finally, I just tried one thing that wasn't labeled, and it was this. Oh, I have the box. It's Yves Saint Laurent Mon Paris, and it smells really nice. It smells expensive, like it's not something that I'm just gonna spray all over whenever I feel like it. But yeah, I love this. I'm very happy with it. It was way too much money, more than I spend on my normal Chanel, but I am very happy with it. I don't regret spending that. And then other things on the Champs-Elysees are Zara, where I got this top. I love Zara. I mostly have gone there and H&M while I'm here and bought things, and I can't tell you why I haven't gone to more like boutique places. Actually, I can. It's because they're expensive. And Chanel and Chanel's pretty expensive. Zara and H&M are not too bad at all. Zara's very different here than it is in the States too, which I find really fascinating. So one of my first weekends here, I saw this ad in a subway station for Danny Elfman. And I'm like, what is Danny Elfman doing in Paris? And it wasn't in English. I couldn't really tell like if it's like just his compositions. They did something with Alice in Wonderland. I had no idea if he was going to be there. I could not tell. So I bought tickets and I went to this place called Cité de la Musique. Again, forgot to take videos, but I'll insert photos here. And it was just really cool. Danny Elfman has kind of moved away from film compositions and has done his own like piano quartet, violin quartets, symphonic pieces. So it was really cool because he did a little bit of a talk and then a Q&A, and then people performed his pieces. It was really, really cool. I had a great time. I'm very happy I did that. So the Louvre. Everyone knows the Louvre, of course. It's the home of Mona Lisa. Not the original home, but she lives there now. The Louvre is always, of course, very crowded, so I was told to go in the fall on Wednesday or Friday evenings. So I went one Wednesday, and it was amazing how not packed it was. So I decided I'll go 3 or 4 times. So I went to the Sully wing, which had like Greek sculptures, the Venus de Milo, and so that was really cool because I desperately wanted to see that last time I was here, but like we had so little time in the Louvre, we ran to the Mona Lisa and got out because that's all the time we have. And they also had Egyptian art. But what I thought was really cool was, so the Louvre used to be the palace of the kings before they built Versailles. And so they had rooms preserved that they had lived in. So it was just so cool, especially at night. It was like kind of dark. It was as if you're just walking by, no one's home, you're just looking in the window. Like it was so cool. And they showed all these different like artifacts, I don't know if that's the right word, but pieces of things that were in the palace that the royals used. It was so fascinating. And then finally there was one room towards the end. It was all red walls and it had various paintings of still life. And it was really cool because everyone in there was sketching something. They were all staring at whatever painting and drawing it in their sketchbook. I don't know if that's common in that room or if it was a workshop, but it was just really fascinating to watch. I decided to go to the sculpture gardens on the right bank. They weren't as cool as I thought they'd be, but it was like a nice little walk. It just took kind of a long time to get there for something that wasn't that fascinating. I was planning on getting a crepe and walking through, but they had no crepes anywhere. It was really strange. But after that, I went to the island Ile Saint-Louis. So the sun goes through the middle of Paris, and at one point it kind of breaks off into 2 forks, and there are 2 islands in those forks. One is Ile de la Cité, which is the famous one, that's where Notre Dame is on, and then Ile Saint-Louis, which is much smaller and rich. Like houses there, or apartments there go for, I think, 15,000 euros per square meter, but beautiful, absolutely lovely area. So tiny, it was so like intimate. I loved it. And while I was there was just this huge line out of the store, and I'm like, what's going on here? Like, it must be good. So I got in line, and I had Bertillon. I'm very embarrassed by my French. But it was ice cream. It wasn't even gelato, it was ice cream. It was so good. If you are ever there, get the dark chocolate. Chocolat noir. Here I am eating it. I don't know why I was eating it so fast, like a glutton, but it was delicious, and I think about it every single day. I have noticed the store in other places around Paris, but I feel like it's just not as special unless you're on Ile Saint-Louis. And then after that, I went to the flower market. I kind of forget where exactly that's located. So I expected to find bouquets of flowers because, as you can see, I really like to have flowers. I have some over there. They're dead, but they still look good. And it just makes me feel better. It like makes me feel more alive in my room. And so I thought there would be a lot of stuff for me to buy, but there wasn't. It was mostly stuff to plant, which now that I think about it makes sense. So here's a little fun fact. When I was shooting this morning, the camera turned off while I was talking about the flower markets, and I knew that, and I turned it back on and everything was fine. But I just got back from class and I went to watch it over, and the second shot was completely blurry, totally not in focus, and it was like 10 minutes worth. So I decided I'm just gonna start over here. It's now nighttime, so it's dark, so I can shoot in front of the window, because otherwise lighting is behind me and it's bad. So with that said, you think of like the facade of a Parisian building, you have all those little iron bars. I don't know what they're called. They probably have a beautiful name, but I don't know what. That people put planters, boxes, everything in there. So it does make sense that they don't sell them clipped. But I have to just look further. One thing that they did have there is this really beautiful plant that I have seen in a lot of places around Europe now. It's called Gruyere, like Gruyere, the cheese with a B. And hopefully I have a video. If not, I'll put a picture here. But it's just so pretty. I haven't bought it because I'm just worried that like I don't have anything to like put under it so that it doesn't like ruin the wood up the windowsill or something like that. So another thing I wanted to mention is this cute little English bookstore that I found called the Red, what is it? Does it say on here? The Red Wheelbarrow. And it is so cute. It's just this bookshop, maybe twice the size of my room. It's got like, you know, the shelves and the ladder, and they sell all English books. So they, it's owned by a little English lady and a little, I'm guessing American, she could be Canadian lady, but they let dogs in there, which is great. A lot of places let dogs in there, but like English speaking dogs are really fun. They're just more fun than French dogs. Sorry. I've looked at a lot of the kids' books because I want to get something for Violet that has to do with Paris, but isn't in French. So there's plenty of stuff there. I didn't even decide, there's so much stuff, so I'm gonna go back. But I did get this book. It's called Climate Justice, A Man-Made Problem with a Feminist Solution. It's by Mary Robinson, who, I don't want to embarrass myself. Okay, yeah, she's the former president of Ireland. She served in the UN a couple times as their special envoy on climate change. She has her own climate justice thing, and she was awarded a US Presidential Medal of Freedom. However, it doesn't say when, so we don't know if it really matters, but I highly doubt that it was awarded to her after 2016. That's just my guess. So one thing that my program director, Celine, has us do in the class is, it's called Institute. Don't know what that means. Where we have to pick something that we're interested in. The class goes there and then we talk about it. Mine is going to be on Cité de la Musique in October, and that's basically just a music campus. They have like new stuff, old stuff. That's why I went to see Danny Elfman, and they also have a museum. So that's going to be mine. I have no idea what I'm going to do, but I'm going to go there this week and figure it out. But what I did most recently in Paris, because I was away this past weekend in Amsterdam and Brussels, we went to, I can't remember the name. I'm going to put it right here again, but it's where Marie Antoinette was imprisoned. It's really interesting. It originally was where royalty lived before they moved to the Louvre. And during that time, it held prisoners in the basement, people waiting for their court date. It wasn't like, there are murderers just hanging out in the same place as the royals. I mean, potential murderers, but not convicted murderers. And then over time, after they moved to the Louvre, it became a full-on prison. The whole thing was a prison. Marie Antoinette was in there before she was beheaded. I actually have a photo of like the gown she wore, which is fascinating because it was a billion years ago. Coming from an American whose history goes back less than 250 years, it feels like a billion years. And then after that, we went to Sainte-Chapelle. Sainte-Chapelle is one of the most beautiful churches in the world. You walk in, kind of underground, not really, maybe it is, but like it feels like it's so dark. And it's really gorgeous. But that was where like the peasants, the common people would go to church. And then the royals would go above. And it's just totally just gorgeous stained glass. So there are days when I don't really want to go out and do something brand new. It's just a hassle to plan something, figure out what I want to wear. It's so annoying. So it can be really annoying when I'm not in the mood to figure all that out. So one thing that I love to do is go up to the roof and have a glass of wine, read a book, and just watch, just have the skyline. But I really love at night doing that because you have the wine, sometimes you have a friend, and you just watch the Eiffel Tower. It's fascinating. It's just this structure that's lit up at night. It glitters every hour. The beam goes around, but like you can stare at it for hours. It's gorgeous. So that's one thing that I can do that's cheap. Just walk upstairs. And then the other thing, I've only done this a couple times, but we're gonna try to make more of a habit of it. Some friends and I will go to the sun and we'll just sit on the side. We'll have wine, cheese, bread, and we'll just watch the sunset and chat, and it's absolutely gorgeous. I think that's gonna be one of the most memorable parts of Paris. It's super simple, but it's like quintessential Parisian, and it's unforgettable. So I'm excited for October. It's kind of insane that I've been here for a full month. Like, it's October 1st. I've been here since September 1st. Part of me is like relieved, like, okay, I've done a month. I've gotten through it. I've only got 3 left and then I'm home. Because I do love home. There are a lot of things I miss from home, especially this time of year. But then the other part is like, well, I'm already a month over with. Do I feel like I made the most of my September? Could I have done more? What am I gonna do now? Like, I've only got 3 months, and then I'm never gonna live here again probably, right? So it's kind of hard to grapple with. I kind of wish I had done it in the spring. I was planning on it until certain events occurred and then were canceled and then were happening and then were canceled. It's kind of just unfortunate that I didn't do it in the spring, only because there's so many things I love about home during this time of year. Sarah and Violet just went to the Great Pumpkin Farm. I didn't get to go apple picking, apple pie, apple sauce, all that great stuff. Because of course I can get that here. No one makes a better apple pie than my mom. Maybe me. I do make great apple pies, but I don't have the supplies to do it here. So, that sucks. That really sucks. And then, I can't go to like Harmonia concerts, Vocalis. I can't go to like Christmas markets at home. The thing is, the uniting factor of all of this is not that like there are all these things that I love to do, because I can figure out how to do most of those things here. It's the traditions of doing it with my family. And I just don't have that here, obviously. So I do miss that. I'm glad that next year I'll have memories of what I did in fall and winter in France. So I'm trying to think of it that way. Like, it's gonna be different, but it's gonna be just as cool. It's gonna be amazing. Just new. So I'm excited for October. I have fall break planned. That's totally set. I have a group of friends. I think there's 6 of us total who are going. We're going to Barcelona, then Rome, then Venice. I've only been to Rome, so I'm super excited. I might have some other trips planned. I haven't really set anything in stone yet. So yeah, I think I'm gonna try to be more optimistic going into this month and with everything I'm doing. I'm gonna end this video here, and then hopefully I'll make another one soon about something. I don't know if I'm gonna do it on my like September vacations or September trips that I'm gonna do, or if I'm gonna talk about some of their impressions of France. I don't know, but hopefully soon. Thanks.
وشو لك نار؟